And we've got Sanjana. Yeah, we got Adikarta from Cleveland. From all over the place.
Daniel.
And we got Uday.
Coming.
Okay, so that's great. Thank you. I'm in a moving vehicle in a place called St. John, New Brunswick. They have these cruisers coming, these big ocean liners coming here. And it's an interesting place. It's very beautiful, a very beautiful province. And we've just been having a lot of rain. But we need rain because Canada is being attacked by Agni this spring. All over the place. Alberta, now in Quebec, also in Nova Scotia. Yeah, so that's, watch out, Cleveland. Fire might be coming your way. All right. So I guess what we can do is get started with our mantras. And I don't have a Gita right in front of me. I guess I'll use it from the shared screen when we get there. I'm going to apologize. I may not be with you the whole time due to the fact that I'm traveling and that there's a set schedule. And it starts at 6:30 our time, 5:30 yours. But because some of the people that are coming from a tropical climate, that means that they will show up late. That is my experience. People who come from warm climates are late. People who come from cold climates are on time, especially where they make clocks, like Switzerland and Germany and things like that. And the regular Canadian, whatever that is, or American, they're usually pretty good with time. But if you come from a warm climate, like southern Italy, southern France, Guyana, and India, you will probably show up late.
Yeah, definitely. We have Indian Standard Time as a vision. That is like at least 2 hours late, you know.
All right, so now.
Maharaj, you're on mute, Maharaj.
We can hear you,
Maharaj,
Maharaj.
you're muted.
Maharaj is on mute.
Oh, he is chanting the prayers.
Shisha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I have with me some nice devotees. The driver is Nakula. Say hello to him.
Hare Krishna.
I also
Hare
have
Krishna.
it's a very nice wife is Sarah. And another very nice new person to Canada. What is your name?
Rajni. I'm Rajni.
Rajni. I don't even know who I'm traveling with. And she's behind me. I don't know what I should hold on to my neck or what. Anyways. So anyways, let us go move along and look at the first page 1 of the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita that you have either in your hands or in the form of, online, the computer. So, Om Jnana Tamarandasya. You can repeat.
Om Jnana Timirandasya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Chakshurun Militangena.
Chakshurun Militanena.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born in the darkest ignorance.
My spiritual master opened my eyes.
My spiritual master opened my eyes
With the torch of knowledge.
with the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
All right, so now our host, which is Vaishnavi, she's going to take us all the way over to the verse that we're going to look at today. Or at least
15.
start the verse we're going to start with. Vaishnavi, it's all yours. Okay.
15.8, Maharaj.
15.8. Okay. So somebody, I'm having a little hard time getting a nice bold version of it. So someone can read the Sanskrit and we'll start like that. Okay.
Uday, you want to go?
Go for it, Uday. Your
Yes.
pronunciation is excellent.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Shariram yad avapnoti yachapi utkramati svara grihat vetani samyati vayur gandhan ivasayat. Translation: the living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Should I do the purport too, or?
No, you can't be that greedy, Prabhu. Sorry. Someone else can read the purport. Sorry about that, Uday, to lock you down, but we'll just share a little bit, okay?
Vasanta, go.
Hare Krishna. Here, the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to a higher grade, and if he likes, he can move to a lower class. Minute independence is there. The change his body undergoes depends upon him. At the time of death, the consciousness he created will carry him on to the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or a dog, he's sure to change to a cat's or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into the form of demigod. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is false claim that after the annihilation of this body, everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body, which carries the conception of the next body, develops another body in the next life. This process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, or struggle for existence. Hare Krishna.
Yes, okay. Nice. Thank you so much for that nice reading. And, we're dealing once again with the subject of the transmigration of the soul, the Atma moving from one facility to the next, or one body to the next. And this particular shloka helps us to understand a little bit how it happens, why it happens. Okay, so what kind of body we get in our next life is determined by where we spend our time, what we do with our time in this life. The example is given that just like, well, let's give an example. It's springtime here where I am, and it's a very slow coming on spring. And you got, like, say, the lilac bushes. And when you walk by a lilac bush, it's so fragrant. It's so nice. It just knocks you out. And what happens is that you're not right by the lilac bush, but it's some distance, maybe some feet away, but still you pick up on the fragrance because there is this sort of the air currents pick up the fragrance and throw it at you. And then, so you smell it. And then you move along, and there's another group of flowers, and the same process happens. So in this way, our consciousness is picking up on different conceptions of life, different opinions, different ideas, experiences, and that influences us to the point where we end up going into a new body based on our meditations, our concentrations, or conceptions of life. The example that Prabhupada gives is of the wind will go over like a rose bush, and it carries the smell, the scent will be moved on. And then that same wind will go over a pile of stool, some excrements, pick up the scent and push it on further. In this way, we go pick up various conceptions of life. Just like there's one devotee there in North Carolina. He won a free ticket to Toronto, 2 tickets for he and his wife. So they came to Toronto, Canada for the first time. And because in Canada, you have cannabis everywhere. It's as popular as urban gas stations in New Brunswick. So you can have marijuana. It's legal. Toronto, those pieces of the curve, and everywhere I went, it was so rampant, and so that's what you're going to get. And of course, for a little variety, you probably should walk in front of a Pizza Hut, and then you'll pick up that scent. And then you think about a pizza, you might think about marijuana, pizza, and then you hit the lilac bush, and then it's a different conception. So in this way, we pick up certain conceptions or attitudes, and that very much influences what kind of body you're going to get in your next life. Everybody understands? That's the way it works. Where you are now, where you are now in terms of your state of consciousness, the kind of body you get is based on the influence of the past. Is somebody unmuted, or they're picking up some extra sound vibrations? Hey, we can stop it. So anyways, I just gave you some examples of how it works. These are nice examples of Dunkin' Donuts, whatever smell comes your way. That you think about the donuts or the bagels, whatever it is. So it's this helps us to understand how the soul picks up on different ideas and then affects the consciousness, which then molds the new body that you're going to get. That's how it works. So there's nice examples that you can give to people when you talk to them about reincarnation. So I leave it now to some of you to kind of figure out what it comes to your mind. Maybe you have some questions and so on. And so I'm going to just have to take a break for a second. I'm getting out of the car and we're unloading. Okay, so 1 second. Who can you get into my suitcase?
Yeah.
And can you bring out the 5 books that we have left?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And so that's it. And so if anybody has some thoughts on this matter, you can now speak your mind. While you're thinking, I just want to let you know, this is a very good verse to memorize. if you want to get the point across about reincarnation.
Maharaj,
Yes.
we couldn't hear some of the things you were saying because your audio cut off a little bit.
I see. Okay. Well, now I'm stationary, and I'll try to plop myself somewhere where I can be heard. Okay. How are you? Give me a second. Okay, I'm just giving a class. Is there a quiet place that I could do that at inside? Okay. 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 Sure. Okay. I found the solution to our problems. I think I'm okay. Can I just put my shoe?
Jai Maharaj.
Okay. So I gave you some examples of, we're basically talking about how the wind picks up different scents and fragrances. Some of them are sweet, some of them are obnoxious, right? I think you probably heard those things. And that, immediately what triggers in your mind, as soon as you smell pizza, oh, you didn't even have to look. You think of pizza in your mind, right? And the pizza will stay with you in your mind until something else takes over. So in this way, we move around from one existence to the next, carrying different conceptions of life. So I don't know what you missed there, but the example is, the air picks up some scent from a pile of stool, or you're going along, you're walking along, and there's like a deer that just got hit or was there for 5 days, and then you pick up that smell, that obnoxious smell. And so then you think of that deer, oh my God, and you have to close your nose or just get her there as fast as you can. So, and this is a very good illustration, example of what is transmigration of the soul. So any thoughts that you may have on this topic?
Maharaj, I have a comment.
Okay.
This verse and the purport, it seems that this is the best verse and purport to share to somebody to teach them about transmigration and all the basic stuff.
Yeah, you are right. It's really one of the better verses. There's nice imagery there. And the first time we hear about reincarnation is in chapter 2. Does anybody remember what verse that might be?
Dehino asminita dehi.
Kaumaram yabanam jala.
230. Yeah,
Tatra mohyati, Maharaj.
Okay, well, it seems like people are very eager to, present their verses that they've memorized. And when we do it all together, we sound like a bunch of chipmunks, but that's okay. I'm glad to know some of us are getting familiar with the Gita. Yeah, chapter 2, text 13, simply talks about as the embodied soul, the soul which is encased with a body, travels from Kaumaram, that is childhood, to Yovanam, youthhood, to Jara, old age. The soul similarly passes into another body at the time of death. And a self-realized soul is not bewildered by the changes, right? People really have a hard time with changes, like COVID. Oh, do I have to change? You mean I can't go outside? I can't go to the park when it first was happening. Oh, I have to change. Oh, I have to live with my spouse. I have to be here all day with the person I married. Oh, some people have not such nice attitudes. And I get to work. Some people are happy. I don't have to go to the office. I can stay and work at home, and I can just go to the fridge anytime I want. For some of us, it was not bad, but people have a hard time with the changes. So when we are born, Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this in a song, when you're in a bhajan, when you're born, initially, and the Bhagavatam speaks about this as well, when you're in the womb of your mother, at least some souls have this feeling, I feel I'm in despair, I'm in distress, being packed up in this womb. And I'm just, my Lord, liberate me. That's the sentiment. Liberate me. I pray to you now that I will be good. I will be a good boy or a good girl, and that I won't have any, I will submit to you. I surrender completely to you. So that's the mood. There's oftentimes, at least that's the details delivered in the Bhagavatam, that there's a very high level of realization. However, when one is then born, one gets all this attention. Oh, he's so cute. It's a boy or it's a girl. Oh, she's so sweet. And this way, one gets enamored and gets all this attention, and one forgets everything, just almost dismisses whatever was happening there while in the womb of the mother. Yeah. So we change, and we have a hard time changing with the new body. Takes getting used to. Takes many years for a human being to really grow up into the full capacity. What would you say? 20 years, maybe? What do they say? What do the experts say? When you're
I
fully
think
grown.
I think 25 years for man and little less for girl.
right.
Then the brain or the brain compartments are developed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the way it is. And so it takes a long time to get there, isn't it? And especially when you're growing up. I can remember as a child growing up, everything took so long,
And
you know,
try
especially the school year. And the longest day of the year was Labor Day, because it was the day before going back to school. And it just dragged on and on and on. Yeah, and then I have a little friend here. You haven't met me. Okay, yeah. So the point is that the conception of time changes as time goes on, and time has an incredible impact on the living entity, for sure. And when you get older, everything spins by a lot more quickly. Is that right, Dharma Prabhu? Doesn't it move fast when you get older? Am I right about that? And Antishesh, all of you are very mature.
Yes,
It's correct, Maharaj. Yeah.
if we try telling that to your children that their brain is not developed, you'll hear a full reply from them. I mean, if you tell them that you're not developed, your brain is not developed, that's not something they like to hear.
Yes, yeah, they don't like to hear that. Yes, that's true. Yeah, so the point is about adjusting. We must adjust, but the initial time taken to adjust is a little bit tough for people. Just like adolescence, time, you're not a child anymore, you're not an adult in between, and you're very conscious about your looks, about excess oil.
Maharaj. Hopefully he will come back soon. So,
I'm back. Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I couldn't hear properly after a few minutes.
okay, he is. Maharaj, can you
Have you
hear
heard?
us? Maharaj, can you hear us?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we couldn't hear you for about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So, and then
Can you hear me?
Will it help if we switch
Can
off
you
our-
hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you, but we cannot see you. But I think it's okay. We can continue if
You can hear me, but you can't see me.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Y-
Okay,
Yes,
so
Maharaj.
let me know right away if you can't hear me. Okay, adjustment is hard for people. Ask people to change is very difficult. That's the point we're making here. I was talking about adolescence. Now it's an awkward time in life. You're not a child anymore. You're not clearly not an adult in the middle. And people have certain expectations. Oh yeah, he's a wild teenager, so let him or her be wild. It's an awkward time. Your let's say reproductive organs may not, there's starting to develop, and they may not have reached their zenith. You may have excess of oil, and you get pimples and everything. You're very bodily conscious at that time, and at the time when
Maharaj, you're
you really
very
want
choppy.
to look good, but you
Maharaj,
can't always look good.
we cannot hear you clearly.
Okay, so then what I would suggest, can you hear me now?
Very choppy.
Okay, so then what I do, I want to apologize if I was going to get any better. And I think maybe what you should do is take over. Maybe can you help me? Are you good? Are you a good computer guy, telephone guy?
What's the problem?
I need to get the Wi-Fi for here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Maybe that'll help me out. Are you the owner of the house?
Yes.
Oh, my house.
Maybe you can disconnect and rejoin, Maharaj.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll be good when he gets the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no need to disconnect, Mataji.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're more tech.
There you go. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
yeah,
very
we can hear you.
nice. Very
Loud and
nice.
clear.
Okay, great.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we got the Wi-Fi for the house that I'm in right now.
Okay.
So that helps out. Okay, so we were just talking about the awkwardness of being an adolescent. You're not a child anymore. You're not an adult, and so the changes can be traumatic sometimes for people, and so it's difficult to change from one body to the next, and people also wonder, well, if I was in a body before this one, why don't I remember it? And the answer is that you go through a lot of change, dying, then being packed in the womb. First of all, the way we understand it, you're in the semen of the father. The soul travels as the seed and then gets injected into the mother. And then finally you're packed in there for 9 months. And then, and then you're born, you come out and there's something called air, which you're not used to. So it's all kind of cumbersome. And because you went through that trauma, it's a little bit like amnesia. You can't remember your past because you were struck. You had a blow of experience. So that's why a lot of people don't recall the past, at least in great detail. But this should not bother us. We should just live with what we have, accept our karma, and move on with it. Look at your strengths, build on those strengths, ignore the weaknesses, and get on with life. So those are some points we want to cover. Anybody else have some questions or remarks they'd like to make?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Haripal Dasa. My comment is that I think in general, the people, what I've seen is the more they're educated, like I am considered to be somewhat educated, and the more they struggle, like I am struggling so much at work, like, I work in wireless, and, the Wi-Fi issue that you had, now your signal is clear. But there has one, and what I see recently is that uh, the more educated people are, that less they're actually willing to realize that there is a second aspect, which is the spiritual aspect. And I am myself a victim of my own sayings, whatever I'm saying now. And like, I think I once saw the Your God Brothers. I think Satswarup Das. I don't remember the one of them is a PhD in physics, and the other one was a PhD in biochemistry. They had this interview, which in the 60s or 70s with the TV. I'm so sorry. I think I forget the names. Both of them are doctorates, so highly educated people, but they were struggling and struggling with life. And then they did the intelligent thing, which they surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. I surrendered to you, but I don't think I fully surrendered. I think I only partially surrendered. And that's my observation, Maharaj. The people who are more educated, that Karsati word that you said, they keep struggling and struggling. And I myself like that.
I see. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's absolutely very beautiful. Mhm. Mhm. Someone's mentioning there, Anantashish, you said you're struggling with past memories. I'm not, didn't catch the whole message. But if you'd like to say something now, you can. Unless if there's someone else who would like to say something on this topic of transmigration of the soul.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
yeah, go ahead.
It is
Vaishnavi?
very traumatic. It is just from beginning to end. It all sounds. It is just so traumatic. But we are all, we have been here for so long, and it just seems like what is a normal thing, and all the suffering seems just this is a normal life. And one can easily forget, this realization that this material world is just a complete struggle. So it's such an illusion, and yeah, it's a very sick and strong and deep illusion that there's anything good in this world, and a normal, like sometimes people say, I just want to have a normal life, but then it doesn't ever seem to happen. And yeah, what is normal, right?
What is normal, right? And I guess some people would just like to uh, define that normal life is one that's relatively happy. You know, you you have certain expectations and nothing too drastic or nothing too extreme. I think that's what's implied by that statement. Normal life. Um, yeah. Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti Stani Karshati, which means that we're struggling. We're struggling with the six senses, and including the mind. Um, so, and of course, we have also the working senses that we struggle with. Like I had weak knees after doing all the walking, and so that became a struggle. I was limping, having a hard time going up and down stairs. Now it's kind of fixed up. But yeah, it's tough. We get preoccupied so much in our suffering and our struggles that becomes hard to focus in on what sometimes has to be done. And that's why, health is wealth. If you got a good body, you've got good karma, you're strong, you're able to get things done physically, and a good mind, a good sense of reason, And I also say, if you're a doer instead of just always talking about things, get things done, then there's a relative peace within. But if you're constantly haunted by, let's say, physical pain and mental strain, then we can only feel sorry for you. This whole idea about like mental strain or mental imbalance, it's very much on the rise. And it seems that although we have everything money could buy, you can go to the grocery store and you get any fruit you want, any vegetable, anything. Yet our health is not that good. You know, I mean, back in the 50s and 60s, people were a lot healthier than now. And maybe some of you seen clippings of the beach, like from the 70s. People were in fairly good shape. Now, say like obesity is a big issue, and you know it seems like physically we're not so together. Mentally, we're much more distraught. Yeah, so as Kali Yuga advances, but know it for certain that if we apply ourselves well, even in the midst of Kali Yuga, and we're supposed to be guaranteed a better body in the future if we hold wholesome conceptions of life. On the other hand, if we're selfishly driven, we are going to suffer a lot of pain, and there's no guarantee that we'll have a good body in the next life. Anyways, what is good? What is normal? Wouldn't you say, would some of you agree with me, to have a mom and a dad who support me, maybe to have some siblings, to be born in that kind of circumstance, maybe middle-class income, because if you're too poor, you're working so hard, you're struggling. And if you're too wealthy, oftentimes you get spoiled. And but that idea of living in the middle of the road, so to speak, it's become less of a reality, and the extremes are more what people experience, you know. So that's the observation of what is in Kali Yuga. Someone sent a message and I just wiped away. If you have something you want to say, would you like to share it with us vocally?
Yeah, Maharaj, I was writing. It seems like the more choice we have for sense gratification, the more we tend to go for self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, it seems you're right. Yeah, the more choices you have, the more complicated life gets. You know? And yeah, that's a fact. If you go to these box stores where you could get anything like Costco, there's, you know, and for a fairly decent price if you buy wholesale, then you know, anything can, yeah, you get very spoiled for sure. And
Can I say something, Maharaj?
yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I met this guy. His story is kind of crazy. So he's like he got here when he was like 15 years old. He started working. He's from Brazil. He started making money. He started getting a whole bunch of properties and things, like in Brazil here. But then something happened to him. He got a motorcycle. He fell on the motorcycle and like his legs don't work. So now he's in a wheelchair. And he was telling me, because, you know, I basically deliver medication to patients. He wanted to get some drugs. But I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You know, you have to have the name of the patient and everything. And he got into doing heavy drugs like cocaine and Percocet, because he was telling me, he was telling me like, okay, I got hooked into these things and I can't get out, because like he said he has so much stress in his mind because all the properties and all the businesses and everything he was telling me he's making really good money, But the problem is he has a lot of stress, so he doesn't know how to deal with it. And I told him, why don't you get into meditation? That thing helps. It helped me out. I used to be angry before, so I told him, why don't you get into meditation? You know, it can help you out. It can help you get off the mind and things. You know, so I was trying to help him out a little bit.
Oh, that's very good for you. That's what a Vaishnava should be doing, is to offer help to humankind. Yeah, good. Well, anybody else have any comments, Vaishnavi? Are you kind of watching?
There
what's
is
going
a
on?
question from YouTube. Someone by name Marlon Rodriguez is asking how, because when we were talking about the adolescence and things like that. So from
Adolescence?
that, yeah.
Yes.
How or when will I know that I am no longer an adolescent and I am now an adult? I feel like my consciousness has always stayed the same.
I see. Good question. Well, I mean, just like say the spring begins when? When do they say spring begins? What's the actual date, the official date? Does anybody know?
End of March, I think.
Like
end of-
around March 21st?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the official date, but oftentimes it isn't, right? It isn't like that. So it's a little hard to pinpoint, when am I not an adolescent, or when am I not a teenager? Certainly we know from the if you use that terminology, teenager, but when you're 20, you're finished with teens, right? But some people stay as teenagers and they're 65 years old. You ever met those kind of people? Yeah. And some people don't even get to beyond puberty in terms of their mentality. And some people, and as the saying goes, nobody really grows up. But getting beyond adolescence or reaching maturity comes about when you're a responsible person. I would say some of the symptoms would be when you can hold a steady job, when you look after the people around you. And the most mature person is somebody who gains a good balance between matter and spirit. That's a very mature person. Somebody who can, hold themselves well together physically, psychologically, and also spiritually. So that could be a happy person. That kind of person will really, let's say, advance on many levels. So, just to answer the question, getting beyond adolescence, it's not always so much by the calculated years or what's considered to be the set figures for teenage years, start at age 13, finish at the end of 19. It's a little bit more, I guess you have to define what is maturity. And that depends on what culture you're coming from. So in our particular culture, we accept that when you're responsible for both your physical self and your spiritual self. That's the way I would go about it, answering that question. Does that help out?
Yes, he said, thank you so much, Maharaj. I really appreciate your answer.
Thank you for asking the question. Good. So is there anybody else who wants to comment on something? I will have to get to we do have somebody with their hand up. Oh, Haripad Prabhu, you still have your hand up?
No, Maharaj, I just gave a thumbs up to what you said, but I do have a comment. I found the video. It is Richard Thompson and Swarup Damodar Das. So Richard Thompson has an initiated name, but it doesn't show what it is on YouTube unless I watch it.
Sadaputa.
Oh, Sadaputa Prabhu. Yeah.
That's
and Swarup, they're the two people. They're both PhDs, highly educated. And they have this beautiful interview on TV. It was recorded in 1976. I found it. And
both are advanced devotees, very mature, very intellectual. Prabhupada was very proud of them because they helped to form BI, that is Bhaktivedanta Institute, kind of like an intellectual branch for the academia, an intellectual branch of ISKCON. And, they did some very valuable work, such as getting scholars together, getting the religionists and the scientists together. They had these, the topic was the synthesis of science and religion, which I believe we discussed last week. Yeah, good. So I think that.
Maharaj,
Oh yeah,
I have
go
one
ahead.
question. So Maharaj, my question is that how would you remember Krishna at the time of death?
How do you remember Krishna at the time of death?
Because I don't know what condition I would be. Maybe.
Well, if you were,
what consciousness will be, right?
Yeah, many of us will end up, bedridden before we leave. I think a high percentage of people do. When you know it's coming, the diagnosis is such that you're not going to live very long. So then you can do a little bit better preparation. On the other, some percentage of us will die suddenly. It could be by an accident, or it could be, like hit by a car or falling off a cliff and breaking your skull. Any of these kind of things could be the case, or just suddenly heart failure, right? So the thing is that's why sadhana is so important, because then it's a preparedness for when you're leaving, right? Yeah. So every day, if you're a strong sadhaka, that means then that you are in the morning committing yourself to Krishna through singing, through philosophical exposure, such as looking at Shastra, looking at scripture. Please come in. Yep, come in. Haribol for you. I'm just finishing with the class here. And, and offering a little puja, offering your food, your breakfast to the deity, all those things. And also having regular sangha with the devotees. I think we talked about the 3 S's before. There's sadhana, there's shastra, and there's sangha. If you incorporate that on a daily basis, you will have some level of success, better chances of thinking of Krishna at the time of death. On the other hand, if you're whimsical and you don't have a regulated program, then the chances will be increased that Krishna may not be on your mind when it's most important. So get regulated, follow a program like what Prabhupada has given us. In other traditions, people get up and they pray as soon as they get up. They have thoughts of God. I think our program is a little bit more systematic, and that's to our advantage, and we should take advantage of it.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah.
And what's nice about with the devotee care system that we have in ISKCON is that we know when we are aware that one of our devotees is having some struggles. I can remember when I was in Alaska, we went to see a god brother in the airport. Anantasheshi took me there, right? And when devotees come and see you, they're simply to remind you of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But by what you say, by offering some mantras, presenting some pictures that people can gaze at, seeing the form of the Lord, or having recordings of Prabhupada's classes. Take advantage of the technology that's with you right now, that you have at hand, and use it the best way possible. Use technology for presenting Krishna consciousness, reminding yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Why don't we do some quick takeaways, and then I'm going to have to go to participate in the nice household that where I've been invited to attend. All right. So quick takeaways. We only have time for about 4 words.
Right. Dharma Prabhu, your mic is on, so you go first, please.
Oh, okay. So my takeaway from the class is, as Maharaj said, follow the regulatory principles, take advantage of ISKCON processes that to elevate yourself so you can make your mind prepared towards, remembering Krishna in the time of death.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay. If we keep it short and sweet, that'll work. No problem.
Arjuna?
Better preparation for Krishna.
Okay. 4 words. Beautiful. Nice.
Anantasesha.
Blessing in disguise not to have past memories.
Blessing in disguise, not to have past memories. Good. Well, you're on topic. You are on topic. That's very good. I like it. Very thoughtful. Who else?
Guy Gauradas.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, material world is temporary.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Material world is temporary.
Okay, good. And Sri Bhuvaneshwari, she's next to you, right?
Yeah. So, material world is temporary.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you're both married to each other. You think alike, so of course. All right.
Haripadas.
Less struggle, more surrender.
Okay. Nice. Good. These are like sutras, easy to remember. One-liners. 4 words, one-liners. Okay, who else?
Parab, I'm not sure if you want to say something.
Yeah, Sanjeev Parab. So remember and chant the 3 sadhanas and 3 S's. So you remember Krishna at the end.
Sandamini.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, consistent sadhana.
Okay, nice.
Sanjana.
Sanjana. Okay, we'll go to somebody else then.
Maharaj, Sanjana and Sanjeev Prabhu, both of them are from New Jersey. You have met them at our place and they are joining here for the first time, Maharaj.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay.
Sandamini. Oh, sorry. Sanjana is just unmuted. Okay. Do you want to say
something? So it's like I was listening. I think it's a meditation. So more meditation, more chanting is important.
Thank you. Very good.
Sandamini.
Mataji, I've already said, Mataji.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, you did.
Sankalpa.
Too many sons.
Krishna conscious life is happy life.
Okay, great. We need to be reminded. Yeah.
Uday,
I don't think he said anything yet.
So for me, like the 3S associate with Sadhu, Shastra, and Sangha, like that stands out.
Okay, nice.
Vasanta.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, do some spiritual cleaning by chanting and in good company.
Okay, very good. Good
Parab,
reminders.
Parab has his hands up. I'm not sure if you have a question or something. No, no more. Okay.
Okay, and what
Um,
about Vaishnavi?
Yes, so the three S's, Sangha, Shastra, and Sadhana.
Yes, yeah. Good things to remember, aren't they? Good. Well, I think we've covered everybody. Thank you so much. We'll try to be there next week as well. I'm sorry about the technical interruptions there, but we pushed through. We did well in the end.
Yes.
Okay, so bless you all, and Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
Kripasinubhyevcha,
Sindhubhyo
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo,
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Namo
Namaha.
Namaha.
Jai to Bhaktimarga
Thank you
Swami.
so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everyone.